Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. This is our thumbs up or thumbs down edition, our weekly edition. I'm here with George. So the Gaggle, I will start out the Gaggle's thumbs up. Thumbs up this week goes to Joe Biden for doing essentially nothing as usual as the campaign swings from one dynamic to another and it goes into different iterations, up and down, inside out and backwards. I mean, Trump is in the hospital now with COVID. The First Lady has also been infected. I'm sure others, Hope Hicks also. I think she was the super spreader in this case. And we don't know what the state of debates are going to be. Will they continue? All while Joe Biden is in the basement counting the days to the election. You couldn't make this stuff up. He wins by staying alive. So that's my thumbs up for the week. What your thumbs up, George?
Well, my thumbs up is actually oddly enough Trump's sickness. The virus has obviously lost its lethality. I mean, we're not back in April, and as evidenced by the fact that nobody really thinks that Trump's life is in danger. Nobody really thinks that he's going to fall seriously ill. He's getting very good treatment. And it just shows really that the progress that has been made in fighting the virus, and that there's every expectation that he will make a full and speedy recovery. And I think that had this happened a few months earlier, I think the prognosis would have been more dire, given Trump's age, and obviously, physical issues such as serious overweight and so on. But the fact that there's so much optimism about his prognosis, I think that's a thumbs up.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a weird, morbid thumbs up for the coronavirus because it's front and center for obviously until Election Day. Who knows afterwards? It will be very interesting if there is a change of administration, what the attitude towards COVID will be. But that will be a topic of another video. My thumbs down for the week is the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. It has been totally corrupted. It has been totally politicized. I'm of course referring to the investigations this organization did into particularly the Duma gas attack, which the claims were made, decisions were made, sanctions made, bombings, missile attacks, and to this day they say, well, maybe, we're not sure, we're not making a decision. This is just simply awful state of affairs. This organization is badly needed in our world. God forbid anyone ever get their hands on a nuclear weapon and use it for political reasons or for terroristic reasons. But getting a chemical agent is a whole lot easier. And we need this organization to be above board and to share information equitably so all decision makers can get in, make decisions and protocols and procedures in this very dangerous world. So, the OPCW, rest in peace, because you're essentially useless now because it was politicized by Western powers.
Yes. No, I agree with that. And I think that it's a real unfortunate consequence of John Bolton, who bullied and threatened the OPCW at the time of the Iraq invasion, because he demanded that they come up with the correct answers about Iraq's weapons of mass destruction. And ever since then, the OPCW has really just been a plaything of the Western powers, and it's now just a joke. I mean, supposedly it should have a certain reputation, but it doesn't have that. And I think largely that is from who funds it. I mean, where does the money come from? And they know that they mustn't do anything to antagonize their big donors, because, as Trump has already shown, if the Americans don't like a particular outcome, they're just going to stop giving you any money. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
My thumbs down.
Another international organization that has been made superfluous. It had a good intent its original ideas were noble and necessary, and another one bites the dust. Okay,
No,
George, what's one of your thumbs down?
my thumbs down is Judge Sullivan, this whom we've already addressed many times here and on Crosstalk. The judge who's presiding over the Flynn farce. For people who haven't been following, you remember Flynn pled guilty to lying to FBI investigators. He clearly didn't lie, but pressure was applied to him largely because they threatened his son with indictment. The defense wants to withdraw this guilty plea. The government wishes to drop the case. And Sullivan, a judge who's supposedly there to ensure fair play and not to be
to adjudicate
himself. Exactly. Just to make sure that there's fair play between both sides. He's not supposed to be an interested party in anything. Is absolutely refusing to allow the government to withdraw the case and for Flynn to withdraw his guilty plea. So he went up to the appellate court. I mean, an appellate panel voted that the case should be dismissed. Then, the full court got involved, an umpiring decision. Sullivan, not because they thought there's any merit in Sullivan not throwing it out, but they said that it should be Sullivan's decision. He should make this decision. It's his call. And Sullivan clearly is indicated during these hearings this week that he has no intention of bringing anything to a resolution anytime soon.
Well, George, this is like, okay, you just said the government withdraws the case. Okay, obviously the defense team, they want to withdraw their plea. Okay, so this is the analogy, folks. So it really hits home. It's like a man and a woman wanting a divorce. They agreed to the divorce. They agreed to the terms and conditions of the divorce. And the judge says, no, I'm not going to let you get divorced. I will decide if you are divorced or you're married. This is the insanity level of this.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And the extraordinary thing is that Sullivan is trying to protect Obama. Obama got himself involved in this, and he has this deep animus towards Flynn, and Obama clearly masterminded the whole anti-Flynn campaign within the DOJ. So while Sullivan is trying to protect Obama, the DOJ under Bill Barr is actually releasing more and more documents that are extremely damaging to Obama. I mean, it's getting more and more, even quite, observers are sort of shocked by the extent of the Obama administration's involvement in trying to destroy Flynn. So the longer it goes on, if he's trying to protect Obama, he's doing a very bad job of it. Not only is Sullivan a scoundrel, but he's really a rather stupid man as well.
Well, I hope that Flynn gets Freedom of Information documents on his own case, which he should be allowed to have. And I hope Sidney Powell, his lawyer, sues the pants off the government. And I mean big time. He lost his house. He lost his savings. He lost his ability to earn money. I mean, they have thoroughly destroyed this person based on no predicate whatsoever except for personal animus. That's what it was all about. General Flynn, I didn't always agree with you on many things, particularly on Iran, but I hope you soothe the pants off the U.S. government and maybe off of Obama himself, okay? I really hope that. You told me as a sneak preview you have another thumbs down.
Yes, I have another thumbs down. A little while ago, an American organization, Americans for Peace Now, wanted to hold a commemoration for Yitzhak Rabin. And one of the participants would be Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Ocasio-Cortez obviously didn't know much about Rabin. All she really knew about him was the Oslo Accords, and said, "Yeah, I will take part." Well, various Palestinians and people sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, as our friend Max Blumenthal, then immediately got in on the act and pointed out that while here in the United States, Rabin is celebrated as the man of the Oslo Accords, to the Palestinians, he is the man of the first Intifada of the late 1980s when he boasted of breaking Palestinian bones. and killed many Palestinians were killed. Many Palestinian children did indeed have broken bones. And not to mention the fact that even during the Oslo Accord negotiations, Rabin, who was prime minister at the time, continued to encourage the settlement building. So when Ocasio-Cortez was apprised of all of this, she rightly withdrew from the commemoration.
Reaction was predictable.
The reaction was
on cue. Let's hear it.
Yes, anti-Semitic. Bari Weiss, whom we remember supposedly the fighter against the cancel culture, the fighter against political correctness, the fighter against shutting down discussion by using terms like racist, got in on the act and, of course, called AOC anti-Semitic. And that's where we are now. We get the point. You bring up the cause of the Palestinians, you are anti-Semitic.
Well, Bari Weiss, what she holds in her hand is a hammer, and everything she sees is anti-Semitism. Everything is anti-Semitism to her. I mean, her history of destroying people's careers and targeting them, okay, that's what she's obsessed. Maybe that's what her purpose is. Maybe she has handlers. I don't know. I'm not going to speak with authority on this. But it seems to be her mission in life is to make sure that anti-Semitism and criticism of Israel are equated. They're not. They're completely different, separate universes. But I remember, and you remember too, we were both young men, pounding away that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic and racist. It is not, okay? It is not, all right? You can be critical. That's why Norman Finkelstein, a good friend of mine, okay? I guess in her eyes, he's a self-hating Jew. Of course, he's called that all of the time, okay? But Bari Weiss, all I can say to you is, we didn't miss you, okay? We didn't. Right?
Yes, yeah. But
you have a long career in using your McCarthyite-like tactics.
That's exactly right. And she gets this ridiculous reputation of being a fearless speaker on behalf of truth, the one who's silenced by the left-wing mob. She is nothing of the sort. And of course, she's lying, because she even was suggesting that people at the New York Times were kind of driven by some sort of anti-Semitic animus towards her, which is why she kind of
is a media outlet that is one of its core missions is to protect Israel. Okay. Yes. How many people that have worked for the New York Times, either on staff or as journalists within the organization, have a family and children in the Israeli defense?
Exactly.
Right. There were reports on this. This is empirically known. Okay, so calling the New York Times.
But as you say, she has a charmed life, and has built an extremely lucrative career of being the Jewish victim of anti-Semitism. The whole idea that in America you get persecuted for being Jewish or being pro-Israeli is laughable. But she built a successful career on this.
Yep. It's one of those myths that they peddle, but it's a good grift. I have to admit, it's a grift that pays over and over again. Intimidation and fear. We have one more minute, George. You told us about someone from
exactly.
We knew from Ghostbusters.
That's right.
I love those films.
Of a certain generation remember those fun movies from the 1980s, such as Ghostbusters or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. They weren't my cup of tea, but a lot of people loved them. Well, one of the stars of that was Rick Moranis, who's a kind of people have forgotten him. He was kind of a little nerdy guy. But he was a comedian. He was actually quite funny and charming. Well, yesterday in New York City, he was the victim of a random attack. You can see on YouTube this closed circuit TV coverage of it. He's just walking by, and the person came by, much bigger than he was, and just knocked him over. Now, Moranis is 67 years old. He's 5'5", so he's, as they say, vertically challenged. And this was a really horrific attack, a completely random. Hospitalized him, obviously, because the difference in size and weight made a difference. And the shocking thing is that we're now getting used to this. This is not just in New York City, but everywhere in the country. You get these sort of completely random attacks. Whether it's a 100-year-old woman or this 67-year-old man. It's just shocking. What we're now getting used to.
Well, to finish it up here, I mean, I always betray my politics. I'm not afraid of them. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed or anything. But we have the political left that accepts and legitimizes violence for their political aims, and that's a real pity because everybody pays for it. You know who pays for it most, George? People that are the weakest. They're the ones that pay the highest cost. The people that propagate and support this, they have their bodyguards. They're packing their own heat. Okay, these people, the ideas that they propagate, they never have to live through the consequences of it because they're protected. Okay, it shows such contempt for your fellow citizen and fellow voter, I have to say. All right, that's all the time we have here, George. This was this week's edition of the Gaggle. For a thumbs down. We'll be doing this exactly this time next week. And in between time, we got a lot ahead for you. If you like this, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.